Well, good morning, everybody. Pat Flynn here for our weekly Q&A with Dan John. He'll be here in a minute. I wanted to hop on the stream a little bit early just to catch up with all of you. Happy New Year's Eve, by the way. Make a few announcements and, of course, encourage you to submit whatever questions you have because we will be answering them throughout this live stream. Cheers. Let me know what you're drinking in the comments and let me know what your goals are for the new year. I'd love to hear what you want 2025 to look like. Share your fitness goals, share your life goals. I'll share some of mine a little bit later, perhaps. Hey, real quick, I guess the big announcement right now is we are about to begin our newest challenge of the new year. And it's a little bit different. You know, we often start the new year off with a 300 swings challenge, but we actually cooked up something entirely new and special, and I'm really excited about it. It's called KB30, Kettlebell 30, and it is a 30-day fitness challenge that uses staggered EMOMs. I'm really into this. Staggered EMOMs are sort of what they sound like, every minute on the minute training, but you stagger what you do every other minute or, every third minute, so you can work in different types of heavier compound exercises and really get the most out of EMOM training for training efficiency. So KB30 is a 30-day challenge where we use staggered EMOMs. We've got a really powerful, very simple nutrition plan. So it's a transformation program. It's a body recomposition program challenge. All the workouts designed totally new by me from scratch. And there's two versions that you can take part in. We have what's called the base version, and we have the ultimate version. And the ultimate version is sort of the Pat Flynn iteration of a lot of these New Year type of challenges where you have a lot of just, lifestyle tweaks. We have all sorts of like challenges beyond fitness. We have mental toughness challenges. We have decluttering challenges. We have reading challenges. I put together a special sort of reading list curriculum for people. So if you want the sort of wider transformation program, look at the ultimate version because it includes the base version, the full fitness plan, the workouts and nutrition, plus these wider lifestyle challenges that I think are going to really help you out, and I think you'll find to be very fascinating and productive. So if you want to take part, the link is chroniclesofstrength.com/KB30, chroniclesofstrength.com/KB30. We start this next week, my friends. So it is starting very soon. There's an early bird registration discount. We've got some cool bonuses, all that usual stuff. I think this is really worth your time. If you're looking for a good, realistic kick in the butt with intense, time-efficient kettlebell training, this challenge is for you. chroniclesofstrength.com/KB30. And again, you can look at the base version or the ultimate version. All right, so that's my big announcement. Dan John will be here in about a minute or two, and we'll start the Q&A, so drop whatever questions you have. And again, I'd love to hear what you want to accomplish in 2025. So what are your goals for the new year, gentle listeners? Fitness goals, goals beyond fitness. I want to hear it all. Christine asked me, Christine's my wife, we were out to dinner last night, got a little date, which was nice. First time out since we've had the new baby. We had the babysitter come and all that. And she asked me what my goals were. And I realized I hadn't really set any specific new goals for 2025. Most of my goals are sort of continuation goals of things I've been working on, bigger projects. I'm doing the PhD, as many of you know right now. So that's obviously pretty big. I've got this a big music project right now with this Van Halen tribute band. And Dan, we're already live, Dan. So welcome.
Whoa.
We started a little bit early. Say hello to people on New Year's Eve. So hello to you, Dan.
Hi. Okay, sorry.
That's all right.
Am I late? No, that's okay.
No, I just had a few announcements to make. That was all. Good to see you, Dan. Happy New Year's Eve to you.
Happy New Year's. Keep announcing.
Yeah, no. I was just asking the gentle listeners to share their 2025, goals and all that good stuff. And I realized, Dan, I think we talked about this a little bit last week, is that, Christine asked me again, my wife is really pressing me this year of what my 2025 goals are. And I don't think I have any new ones. I'm mostly just trying to continue a lot of the things that I began last year or have been working on hard since. So I haven't decided if that's an issue, if I need to set like new specific goals for 2025, or if or if I can just keep on keeping on this, as they say.
That's why, with my inner circle, we do that 5-2 assignment. In fact, I do it at CERTS also, where you ask the big questions, 2 decades, 2 years. Let's just use those two. But for me, I'm not going to wait till January 1st, personally. Let me just say, let me say this point, and then I'm going to talk about January itself. Okay.
Good.
So if I see I'm trending in the wrong direction on something in my financial life, in my physical fitness, my relationships with girlfriends, daughters, dogs, neighbors, I'm not waiting until the 1st of January
to get ahead of that. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
If my 2 decades, with Elowen just born and Daisy on the way, I've got it. There's some things my daughters are having my daughter's daughters. Okay. I don't have, I can't put things off. Oh, I'm going to take care of my cardiovascular health. I'm going to put that off until, 10 years from now. No, I don't. The clock, she is ticking. I started on my new reading project, 2 months ago. Okay. So one thing I would just tell everybody is Janus was the Roman god who had 2 heads. One looks forward and one looks backward. To me, last Saturday at Kelly's house, we had our annual best of party, which is wonderful. And I make big posters, and a lot of people make videos. But you just talk about your 2024. And I have a massive list of good things, and I have 2 bad things that happened to me last year. And then, to me, the best of 2024 party, and that is much more value for me than making a resolution. Because for me, the science or benefit of hindsight, I look back like this and say, man, look at it, man. I bought this, I did this, I traveled here, I did that, all the books, these books came out, these good things happened. I went to this football game. We had a great time with my nieces there.
Yeah.
And it just reminds me of what a rich experience I had last year. And I've been doing this since 1987, so I can really go back. And if you ever ask me, Dan, when the hot water heater went out, I can just go to that little list.
Yeah. So, so I love this exercise because it's always so easy to overlook the good things. And we're always, our most severe critic. So for you, when you do the best of review, do you put the negative things there, or do you just two negative things, all the good things? Okay, so it's the best of and the worst. Yeah. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
The worst. 2024 was a good year for me.
Yeah. Good.
Love to hear it. I had to, of course, my dog Sirius Black is no longer with us. I had to put him down, but so I'm asterisk. Well, it was time. And he was in a room with me and Erica and one of my training partners, TJ, and the people at the vet place had fallen in love with him. They came by, and while I was still alive and after, it was nice. It was nice. So, and then the other bad thing was, this wound on my face, which was more of an eye opener, so to speak. That's not a bad year. No flat tires. No speeding. I put in, some years, it'll say, just two years ago, it was death row. It was boom, 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 boom. People very important to me. So you get years like that. And then you get years where, you get a speeding ticket's the worst thing that happened to you. It's a good reminder, lots of bad things might happen on the planet, but to me personally, it was a good year.
So, it was a good year. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So 24 was definitely a good year. Good year, busy year, and I invite the gentle listeners to share a thing or two that have accomplished, that you did accomplish in 2024 that you're proud of. It's good to reiterate those things, because we all have this negativity bias, right?
Yeah.
We all have this huge negativity bias that it really is a helpful exercise to look back and, oh yeah, I did that thing. Or
let's review let's review both of us. I mean, I'm much older than you, but let's do this. If you were to have been born in 1903, 1905, okay, and you would have had a chance to get killed either, no, let's go 1900, and you got a chance to get killed in World War One, and maybe you had a chance to get killed in World War Two, but you also had the Spanish influenza, you had to deal with polio, you had to deal with measles, you had to deal with smallpox, chickenpox, whooping cough, polio. How many, gentle listener? I mean, I do know somebody who's my age who got polio because this person's father was a real right-wing person who thought that the polio vaccine was a communist plot. And sadly, polio, I guess, got the person. And I'm like, but honestly, gentle listeners, how many of us have really had to just, do you have 6 kids now? You have
6. Yeah, that's definitely a highlight of the year.
100 years ago, you would have 3 right now.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not being so I do think, look at us. We're talking.
We live in a good time is the point.
Yeah.
A better time for sure, right?
I would
relatively speaking, in certain respects, right? For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's important to think about this. I mean, could you imagine us trying to have this call every week before the internet or telephones? So each week we all of you would send in your questions, Pat, on postal service, Pony Express, to Patrick. Patrick could get them. He'd send the question to me. I would answer on another, letter. Half the audience doesn't even know what I'm talking about. Letters, pieces of paper that you would. Did I lose anybody? I'm just saying, things are trending in a good direction.
Good. Before we take Q&A,
sure.
In terms of the fitness stuff, Dan, what are your fitness plans for 2025? You got any things on the horizon that you plan to train for in particular?
Yeah. Right now I'm doing this thing where I'm training really hard and then fasting for 24 hours.
Yep.
After protein, and I'm doing that Thursday night and Sunday night. Those are the days, and then I'm just having.
So the order of that again is you train. What's the order between the training and the fasting and the protein thing?
Sure. Happen to do it. Am I frozen on the screen too?
There's a little bit of freeze up, but then it's resolving pretty quickly. I can hear you fine. So
okay. So it comes from Brad Pilon, and I really appreciate it. So you do generally, what I'm doing is a bodybuilding workout, for what I consider bodybuilding. For those who know books, armor building formulas, barbell stuff is what I'm doing, basically. And then I go in the house and I eat a lot of protein. I'm striving for 100 to 150 grams of protein. The other night, it was 2 protein shakes and 2 steaks, and it was miserable.
Wow, that's a lot of protein.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to just the hamburgers. When I do the hamburger patties, that's the easiest. And then I fast for 24 hours. Yes. Oh, yeah. So yesterday, I broke my fast yesterday. So I start off with a protein smoothie with 3 cups of berries. I get the Costco berry blends. That's like blackberry, blueberry, strawberry.
Oh, yeah, we get that too. We get that too.
And I think it's really good. And then I had a couple eggs, a grapefruit, a pear, and there might have been something else. And then a couple hours later, I had last night was great. I had chicken apple sausages and a kind of squash.
That's a Costco product too, isn't it, Dan?
I didn't get it from there, but yeah.
Yeah. Our kids like the chicken apple sausage from Costco.
Yeah, and then delicata squash, delatica squash. It smells like candy it's a squash that smells like candy when you're cooking it. And so that was it. I mean, that's not a ton of food for me. Today, and then during those fasts, I do mobility work. Yesterday, I led my inner circle in Original Strength. I walk, I coach, I live. I just live life. I write, I read. You know, it's a good. And then, uh, so today is a walking reading day. Tomorrow I will do another lifting workout with no parameters on it. Thursday morning I'll go back to I'll do another big round of original strength with the group, and then that night I'll do the next part of the armor building formula.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, that's super duper good. I'll have to.
Yeah, I mean, body weight's down. I mean, basically, I'm about 215 most of the time, which is light for me. Not light. I mean, not light for you.
Lean and mean.
But
Lean
and
and
then
mean.
and you can tell I'm even having a hard time getting my shoulders in the screen here.
That's right. You got that V taper, Dan. Yes. Got the V taper all the kids are talking about. Good. All right, let's take some questions, guys. All right. Steven says, I was wondering, sorry guys, my internet is a little choppy, but hopefully I'm coming through all right. Steven says, I was wondering if the 30 for 30 template can be used weekly for one's training, say 3 strength-based days and 4 tonic mobility days. Also, can double kettlebell clean and press be used for 30 for 30 for 30? Okay, so before you answer that, Dan, maybe just give everyone a quick reminder of what this template is.
This is my friend Gernot. He's a great former discus. Well, there's no such thing as a former discus thrower, but he's a German discus thrower. I met him years ago. Great guy, Gernot, and he came up with this idea. Owns a lot of gyms.
Good name.
He's a good man. You train and you stop counting reps and you go for time. So you in the example he asks, it would be hard because basically I would do kettlebell clean and press for 30 seconds, put the load down, rest for 30 seconds for 30 minutes. So generally I pick 5 movements. Okay. A push, a pull, a hinge, a squat, and a loaded carry. Or you can just make it, if you want, you can go up to 10 movements, stay with the lifts, and then put mobility, a mobility movement.
Yeah.
So if you're doing a push, so you do military press for 30 seconds, rest for 30. You would do a shoulder stretch for 30. Did I say 30 minutes? Sorry. Press for 30 seconds.
Right.
Rest for 30 seconds. Do a shoulder mobility movement for 30 seconds, rest for 30 seconds. It's going to sound pretty easy doing it this way. And you just keep 30 on, 30 off for 30 minutes. If you want a really hard workout, which we've done, is you go push, pull, hinge, squat, loaded carry, but you put in between them 30 seconds of swings. You could also do kettlebell, or you could also do snatches, I guess, for 30 seconds. Mm-hmm. The only problem, you'd have to go left, right, and remember where that is. I mean, whenever people show me these workouts, I was like, how do you remember what hand to use? Because I just get, I have all kinds of tricks I use, but it's way too much.
Yeah, we're talking about walking and chewing gum at the same time here.
So it's 30, 30 for 30. If you did the double clean and press that would be, geez, I don't know how many. With double 20s, how many clean and presses could I get in 30 seconds? I'm thinking 5 would be way too low. I might be able to knock 10 out, but it'd be 8 rounds, probably 7, 8-ish rounds every time.
Yep.
Or more. So, you're looking at 8 times 15. That's a lot of reps in 30 minutes on one exercise. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, that's a great template. So to answer, I guess, the first part of it, so double clean and press, I don't know, maybe, but to answer the first part of his question, he wants to know if you can divide it up between strength and tonic and mobility days.
Yeah. Oh,
so certainly there.
Yes, yeah. I thought I answered that. Okay.
Yeah. Just to reiterate.
I was wondering if can be used weekly. Yeah, you can use it for every single workout, but on tonic and mobility, I'm going to do 30 seconds of a stretch and then rest. I think that'd be a waste of time. But resting after a stretch,
yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, some people probably I wouldn't be surprised if some people just like the structure, to have it all just, broken out like that. Keep it on the clock. I mean, I like clock workouts because they do just force you to stay focused. There's a real sort of discipline that they impose that I think is useful. Right?
Yeah, Sunday night I was doing the pure 1 minute rest style where, I've got those analog. I'm using that word more and more. I like analog. I have these to make myself not use my phone so much. I came up with this idea of wearing these on my wrist.
Oh yeah, look at that. And I'm going back in time too, Dan. I got a VHS tape for
there
Christmas.
You go. So
yeah.
This is it's called a watch. It's a clock that you put on one's wrist.
Oh.
And some of the cool kids call them wrist watches.
Oh.
But for me, and so I've got that old school clock in my weight room. And, so yesterday it worked out perfectly for once. It was really weird. But on my first set, I put the bar up when the second hand hit 12.
Yeah.
The next, and then it takes me about 10 seconds to do the 8 presses or so. And then so 10 seconds after or so, whatever it was. So it was on the 2, and I just wait for that. I love that kind of workout because, I can walk away and start puttering around. I'm always puttering around when I train by myself. Only putting away, and I just can't.
Clocks are a great tool.
But the clock brings me. Coach Clock is amazing.
Coach Clock, you can use it in so many different ways in your life too. Even for writing, you can use little egg timers, to give yourself a little just work blocks. And for me, I sometimes need clocks to remember to take breaks. I'm pretty good at working, right? But I'm pretty bad at taking breaks. And by that, I mean, like literally like you need to just get up and move and stretch. Like you don't want to be at a computer playing guitar for so long. So your hips start to hurt. So it's good to have clocks just set as a reminder, hey, get up and do some hip flexor stretches or something like that too. So it's not just about working. The clock can be useful to remind you to rest and move and stretch and take breaks.
And I know I've mentioned the work of Moorhead before here, the UCLA professor. He had that concept called end spurt productivity. How sales if you could get your sales force to always work like they work at 10 minutes to noon.
Yeah, totally right.
You sit around. I mean, I've done it with coaching. I go to football practice, and we're just standing the F around and just not. I remember the one time we had 91 people watching the quarterback practice taking a snap, and it was just brutal. And then the night before our first game, just trying to fill in this is the onside, 7 onside kick variations, 12 different, punt return variations. We're at all these special defenses. It's like, dude, no one's going to remember. This should have been done 3, 4, or 5 weeks ago.
Yeah. Good. All right, let's keep moving here. Avery says, for the new year, I resolved to watch more Dan, John, and Pat Flynn conversations. Well, yeah, good. I mean, we got a lot in the tank, so I don't know if you have years worth of stuff to catch up on. So man, boy,
and it's been good, and we still can't kind of figure out when we started doing this, but it's been
at least 5 years.
Oh no, well more than 5, my friend. Because remember, I went live the morning I found out my brother died.
Yeah, that's right. So we started
5.5 years ago.
That's right. Yeah, it has been, because I think we actually started like right before maybe I moved to Wisconsin. So that would put us almost closer to 6. Wow, awesome. Very cool to think about. All right, our boy Kang says he wants to get more into rucking in 2025 and write a heroic crown of sonnets. Great. So a non-fitness goal and a fitness goal. Always good. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I hope you use iambic pentameter.
So let's give Kang some encouragement here, Dan. In terms of rucking, you do a fair bit of this, right? So
a lot of people now are spending all this money on those ruck, that Go Ruck company. It's like, I'm still convinced that most of you just need a typical backpack, school backpack, and just don't overdo it. Don't put 100 pounds on it. Start off honestly, and I don't want to share where I got the research from for good reason, but honestly, 10 pounds is probably just about fine for most people. 10.
Yeah.
And yet you'll see, oh, I'm using 80 because, well, yeah, okay, yeah.
So I have one of those giant, backpacks.
Yeah.
But it was sent to me, and I never use it. So take that for what it's
Yeah.
worth. Yeah.
And honestly, some of the best rucking you can do is, go to Disneyland and have kids. I mean, just,
I mean, my life is a constant ruck because whenever I walk through the house, there's usually 2 or 3 just
yeah.
clinging on to me, dragging them all over the place. Anyway, so good. So that's
awesome.
all. Yeah. All right, here we go. Sorry, I have to scroll back down. Edward has a book question. Dan, I know you love the Tao of Pooh. I would love to know if you have ever dug deep into it and broken it down like you have
God,
Eat Sword
no.
and the Stone.
No, I like the book, The Tao of the Pooh, because it came into my life at a really good time. It was in the 80s. Just I was just back. I mean, if the Tao, I don't know when the book came out, but I wouldn't be surprised if I read it within a year of its publication.
Yeah.
I just got back from the Middle East. I wasn't doing well, and it was a good book for me to read at the time.
Good, short, easy read. I remember you recommended that. Actually, Edward asked what my thoughts are on it. Yeah, I like it. I read it probably about, over 10 years ago when you recommended it to me. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's what's nice about it. It just reminds it. It was a good reminder for me that this too shall pass. And it's advice I give people all the time. I don't want to act, I'm 67. Technically I turned 68 tomorrow as an athlete.
Oh, awesome.
So happy birthday to all Masters athletes tomorrow. We all get older. So 68, geez. Okay. That happened fast. It's interesting. I watched that Saturday Night show last night. It's the 50th year of Saturday Night Live. I mean, I watched it when it came out with my brother Gary and my brother Phil.
Wow.
My God, it just stuns me. Okay. But it sometimes just reading a book like that just reminds you that, sometimes you don't always have to go with the flow. There's times not to, but for a lot of things in life, just, stay in the river and don't be so judgmental. This too shall pass. I got a lot of good out of that book.
Yeah, it's a good book. I would recommend it for people. Actually, here's a question, Dan. Do you have a book from the past year, your best book that you've read in 2024? You recommend to people? One that stands out, fitness or otherwise, all is fair game.
Well,
just one though.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you bastard!
Yeah, I know.
Oh, sorry.
I had to set the constraints.
Yeah, I would say this. Poor Charlie's Almanac. It's a book. Charlie Munger, he and Warren Buffett put together Berkshire Hathaway. I don't, I mean, I think I like Warren more but Charlie's insights in his mind, when he talks about the graduation, he has a graduation speech where he just talks about Johnny Carson as a device. The idea on Carson, I guess, famously gave a graduation speech where he said, I'll just give you a little bit of it, but the worst ways to find happiness, number one, through chemical or alcohol. Trying to find happiness through chemicals is a bad idea. And the second one was, I think it was envy or something like that. Yeah. And so for me, this book, you pop it open anywhere and it's just great reading. So that's mine. And the interesting thing, gentle listeners, is that any good finance book is also a good physical training book, because the rules of finance and the rules of physical fitness are the same. Yeah. They're the exact same. And you can disagree with me all you want, but they're the same. Little and often, the long haul,
fundamentals
are fundamental. Another one thought I thought about the other day is I've been trying to be debt free since 1987. By the way, 1987, when I started my best of, I started in 1987, the best of lists. And I got that from a book that was called Debt Free Millionaire. I don't know if it was in that book, but that's when I did it.
Mhm.
And so, to me, being debt free in finance, if you're taking a drug that's going to accelerate your gains, uh, there's there's another side to it. Okay, there's another side to it, and you're going to have to pay the piper sometime. Okay,
Yep.
so if you decide if it's one of those speed drugs that like I know one person I know really well is taking a massive amount, obviously there's gonna be a price to pay on that, and you can kind of already see it in commerce.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Great reminders. Good. I'm giving mine. Most of this year, I've been reading just obscure, specialized philosophy books for the dissertation I'm getting done. But the one book that really stood out to me, I wasn't expecting. Dracula, man, it was such a good book. I finished Dracula.
I remember you reading that, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of Dracula now. So my wife's reading it; she's loving it. It's epistolary, so you have to get used to the style. But it's a great book. So if you're just looking for a fun read, a classic, and you haven't read Dracula yet,
yeah,
go for
when
it.
we first meet the Dracula in the castle, when the descriptions of what's going on at night,
Yeah,
that's
it's eerie. He's great world and atmosphere building. I haven't felt an atmosphere of creepiness like that in a book in a long time. He's great at it. Yeah.
It's bothersome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. We kind of I was talking to Mike Warren Brown about it when you mentioned it, and he knows I struggle with that Frankenstein, the book, Mary Shelley's, and Dracula because of that style.
The epistolary, yeah.
Yeah, but I just remember reading it and just be like, oh, there's those when they're at the castle when
Yep.
They're not. We know what's going to happen because of we know where it's heading because of all the movies.
Yes, right. Yeah, which I've never seen. I was actually pretty ignorant. Like I had a general idea, right, dude?
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
But yeah, right. No, I liked it, and the cool thing about that style is like there's like little things that you don't get right away. Like it lacks a lot of description, which I appreciate. Like you don't even know what the characters look like until they meet later characters in the book that describe them. Like little things like that are just kind of different and interesting.
Yeah.
That are sort of forced on through that style, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Would you say more expository? Because it does take 40 pages to figure out what color the person's hair is or something.
Right. Yeah. Because if somebody's writing in their diary, they're not going to be like, oh, by the way, I'm 6'5" and have brown, right? You learn a lot about the person's personality, right? Through what they're talking about, but you have like no idea what this person actually looks like, but then you'll learn it, halfway through the book when they meet another character and you read about it in there. There's like little things like that. That's kind of neat, a little different. So yeah, I recommend that book if you're just looking for something fun and interesting. Great writing.
If you if you slide over to movies, I will say that I thought this was a disappointing year for new movies.
I can't think of any really good ones that I saw.
By the way, I saw Moana with my grandkids and daughter the other day. I think it starts really slow, but it's a fun ending, and everyone knows what's going to happen. It's fun. But I will say I watched this show the other night, and I got to tell you, I thought the movie Saturday Night was just fine. I don't know if it's the best movie ever, but the movie is called The Substance or something like that. It's got Demi Moore, and it's about a drug for youth. I got to tell you, I can't. It's so gory and over the top, but it's one of those shows where I want everyone I know not to see it, but watch it. I don't want you to watch it, but after you watch it, let's talk about it because
sure, yeah.
Please don't see it. Don't. But my God, once you do, would you call me up and let's talk?
Let's have a chat about it. Right? Yeah. That's good. I understand what you say.
So the other day, I watched the movie. Next day, I wake up. I turn on the local news. You just see it. We're in the middle. We're in the middle of a series of snowstorms. So I'm watching. And I'm trying to figure out. And a commercial for plastics. Utah leads the world in plastic surgery. We are the We're the mecca of plastic surgery. Mm-hmm. And an ad came on for a local plastic surgeon. And I got to tell you, at a visceral level, I don't know, what do you call this thing? Women say I don't have it. Heart. my heart.
A tiny little black thing. Yeah.
Yes, the Grinch borrowed mine. Uh, it just, it just made me go, oh,
Mm-hmm. Well,
that's
yeah. If
to
people are
me
looking for that
more.
experience, there you go.
Uh, I don't know. I don't know how much acting she did in the show, but her and the whole everyone in the movie were courageous because it is hard to unsee this film.
All right.
But
Well, be
in our
warned,
field,
listeners. Yeah.
Patrick, I think it's something you might want to watch.
All
Or
right.
what
All
we
right.
do in our field.
Yeah.
It's a fountain of youth movie. Okay.
Got it. Hey, two more real quick, then we'll get back to fitness questions. I did see two new movies this year that I liked. I took the kids to see the third Sonic. If you like the first two, you'll like that. It's just if you're looking for a kids movie, just fine. We got the popcorn. It was just Jim Carrey's funny. Jim Carrey's just being Jim Carrey in that. And then this stupid movie called The Beekeeper with Jason Statham. I went in with like the worst expectations. It was free
Really?
on Prime. Man, it was so dumb. But it, like I loved it. It was just like this stupid action movie that actually had a lot of great sequences, and like it was clear that Statham is probably just laughing his way to the bank doing a movie like this.
Yeah.
It worked, man. So I would recommend it. All right, let's get back to the fitness questions. Because I always like talking pop culture though.
But my movie is I've got that whole section of books, right there, Patrick. That's all the Live Forever books, and that one guy spending $2 million a year. It's a door I don't want to crack open. But go ahead.
Yeah, right on. All right. DM says, "Hey, the Strong On book was great. Thank you, sir. He liked the QR demo part. Yeah. So for people who don't know yet, I thought it might be helpful to have QR codes throughout the book, where if you want to see little videos and breakdowns of the exercises, that's in there. I've gotten good feedback on that. Says he has not done Turkish get-ups in years. They are tricky to get good at. Yes, they are. But Dan, maybe you have some advice on this. One thing that I think is very helpful is just working the Turkish get-up in reverse. Learn it from the top down. Start standing, and when you break it down that way and you do the reverse lunge and get to the ground back, it's just far more intuitive. Things kind of just fall in place naturally, and it's just so much easier to learn and memorize the steps in reverse than if you just start on the ground and you're kind of somebody's trying to teach you. You have to kind of like look up and see what's going on. It's just a mess when you try and learn the Turkish get that way. Any other tips you have, Dan, for people who want to get this exercise under their belt?
I think I'm the kind of I don't know if I'm the pioneer or the acolyte or the apostle of the Turkish get down press, but you stop in at every step and you do a single press. And for me, that I'll be teaching a RKC2 here in a couple of, I'm probably 8-9 weeks out now, something like that. And, I use the Turkish get down press to teach the windmill, the bent press, the Turkish get up and get down, heavy pressing now. And then if you can, stay away from the religion of the Turkish get up. It's a fine exercise, but, just makes you, go full stop before you go full crazy on that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Remember that little Business Insider article, Dan? Me and the reporter actually talked. It never made it into the article. I was disappointed about this. I talked about that because she was a fan of the Turkish get up, and I said, I think the get up is a good exercise, but the way I like to use the get up is a little different. I don't think it's. I never use it as the circus trick. Just go as heavy as you can. I think there are better uses of one's time, but as a mobility exercise. And even a conditioning exercise, I think it's got a ton of utility there.
Yeah.
And I was hoping that would make the cut, but it did not. It got cut.
In your book, Paleo Workout for Dummies, stupidest title ever.
That's right.
You do mention that. Is it 5 or 10 minutes of naked Turkish get-ups every day? I can't.
Yeah, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, but doing get-ups with no load, just getting. Now, I get bored after about 2 or 3, so I just do the drills. I do the roll up. I come.
Yeah.
I do the transitions, and that's really a fun way to do things. But good. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. All right. Let's keep rocking and rolling here. Sorry, gotta keep scrolling and re-scrolling. Find another question.
Rocket.
Here we go. Here's a fun one.
Hi.
Kenny says, "Hey, what are all the exercises you've invented? Any turn out to be duds after making it to the public?" Dan, I don't think I've invented an exercise. Certainly never one that stuck. So I think this question is primarily for you. You got some hits, Dan. You got some hits.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know if I invented the Turkish get down press, but I don't know if anybody's ever used it to teach all the stuff I do. Goblet squat, suitcase carry, with Coach Hanger, the slosh pipe world, the name waiter walk. I'm sure people are doing it before me. Maybe not. I don't know. There's a number of weird loaded carries that I do. And by the way, those are all. It's almost 20. It's 22 years ago that I made my DVD on loaded carries, and people are. It seems like only discovering it today. So it's interesting. Like the number of questions I get on loaded carries now is through the roof. He had a good question. There's a few things I regret though. Is it Kang or Kong? Kang. I regret. I was one of the real pioneers of putting Tabata workouts together, and when I used it when I first read about it in 1998, I was using it because I just didn't have the time with an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old to have long workouts. So my first attempt was with military presses, and that was a disaster. Once I made front squats work, I think that was good. But then I started doing, because of the influence of the workout that shall not be named, I started doing thrusters with it, and that was not a good idea. And that's a big regret. I regret. That's a good question. I kind of regret the 2 years I did Nautilus training, but I learned a lot. I learned that this was an important insight for me. If you don't mind me riffing just a moment.
No, this is great. Yeah.
The thing about doing one set to failure on a machine, it's weird because I remember in my journal writing, this is the first time I ever had pecs and biceps in my life, but my discus throw just went down, 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 down. And it's weird because once I said, "Dan, you're an idiot," I had a good conversation with a hammer thrower named Kjell Beisted, the Swedish thrower, and he goes, "Yeah, what are you doing?" And he goes, "You're clearly wrong." And okay. And then the other big mistake was the workout that shall not be named. And if anybody got hurt because of my me encouraging people to do it, I apologize. I will say this: when Lauren was doing the workouts for that organization, it was pretty good stuff. It was reasonable, and it was good, and then it just became and I think it was hurtful. So
yeah, good answer. Good answer. Yeah. I don't think don't even know if I've ever tried to invent an exercise. Certainly lots of sequences of exercises and compounds and stuff like that. But I don't have a goblet squat to my name. I need to get on that.
The Bulgarian goat bag swing, some variations of the hinge and stuff like that. Teaching the hinge versus the fold, I would say maybe somebody else taught that before me. I don't know, but the way I explain it, you don't want to fold. You fold a towel.
Yeah.
Fold a kettlebell swing.
Yeah, those are good. Those are all great. All right, good question. Fun question. All right, let's keep going here. All right. John says, which books does Dan recommend for intermittent fasting? Well, we've been talking about Brad Pylon here recently, Dan, so maybe give him a shout out.
Yeah. The other books I have are upstairs, but this is Eat, Stop, Eat, and this is the new and expanded one.
What year was that the expanded put out? Do we know?
This is 17.
Okay.
Since then, but the thing I like about Brad's work since 17 is, he talks a lot about these things called polyphenols. So that's, polyphenols. Here's my polyphenol morning drink. It's called coffee. It's berries. It's most of the herbs and spices that you think are healthy because they have polyphenols in them. I like that. And I also like the fact that I like Brad's clarity about things, and so I'm a big fan of his
Yeah.
work. Rob Wolf, years ago, when intermittent fasting kind of opened its eyes, if you're on his per, nutrition precision, pardon me, with his precision nutrition site, he has a nice, I don't know, maybe 20-page PDF on the various kinds of intermittent fasting. I was thinking about this the other day, and I don't want to get too, I don't want to get too religious for the podcast, but I was thinking about this when I was young. When I was young, Catholics fasted from midnight until Mass on Sunday, or at least midnight, and so very often you would eat dinner, 5 o'clock, and then you wouldn't eat again until after Mass, which could be, say, noon the next day. And there was also, you can only eat fish on Friday. And I was thinking just the other day, the Greek Orthodox, they have a very scheduled, system. And of course, and our Islamic brothers and sisters, they have the whole month of Ramadan, where you have, and I, of course, when I was there, I followed the rule after about 3 days because it just worked better for me. And in all cases, you're getting a taste of intermittent fasting. Now that I'm moving, I was on the 16-8 for probably 5 or 6 years. And it really did help with fat loss, but I didn't have the courage to do the 24-hour fast, frankly, folks. Sorry, I'm embarrassed to say that out loud. But now that I'm doing the 24-hour fast twice a week, I'm really making better progress.
Yeah.
So other books, there's the gentleman that kind of gets on Greg O'Gallagher's case. He's from the Nordic countries. I don't remember his name. Sorry, folks. And then, of course, Rusty Moore was really helpful for me. Rusty Moore's work, I really like his work. For those who don't know who Rusty is, he's got a great sense of humor. He's the yacht bod guy, and so he's not really. So basically, basically he uses intermittent fasting. He does a lot higher carbs, but he also does easy strength and always walk after a workout. And it's been very helpful.
Yeah. Awesome. Great. Good recommendations. People can expand their reading list. Very, very good. All right. Here I go. Okay. Homa asks, how do I add kettlebells, focusing on power, strength, and mobility on my regular 3-day full body gym? All right.
Homa, do me a favor, if you don't mind, Patrick. Are you saying you're going to a gym and you're doing 3 full day workouts, or you just have a kettlebell and you want information on 3 full day workouts? We just clarify that, and let's go on to the next question.
Yep. All right. Snoop Kane asked, do you have a program for women to improve their push-ups?
Do you have one?
Well, I don't have a program dedicated to it, but I have some advice. We can start there. So I think for push-ups, I think I like approaching it as this similar way to pull-ups. Like the quicker we can get to the actual thing, or as close to the actual thing as possible, the better. So I don't. It's not to say that machines or bands can't be useful. It's just that sometimes they help you in areas where you don't need it, and they don't help you in areas where you do need it. So sometimes you just keep getting stronger where you're already strong enough, and you don't improve in the areas where you need to get strong. So this is where like people use assistants or various push-up variations that I don't think are always super useful. I think the simplest way to do it is just a mixture of isometrics, hand elevated push-ups, and controlled eccentrics, right? So instead of doing like push-ups from your knees or stuff like that, just find a slight incline for your hands where you can hit push-ups, for just a few reps, but you have to work hard. That's the thing. If you want to get stronger, you have to really be challenged in a way that is as mechanically similar to the thing that you actually want to be able to achieve. And I think the best way to do that is with just planks, static holds, lowering eccentrics and then elevating the hands and then just slowly over time, but not too much time. I think you can be pretty aggressive about it. Trying to get those hands. You can just use a flight of stairs. As simple as that.
Oh.
And push-ups respond well to frequency for a lot of people. So I think you should practice them often. The people tend to recover fairly quickly from them. So I think they lend well to a frequent sort of, if you want to get good at them, you gotta work those often. And then the other, thing like with pull-ups is body weight. Is one of the easiest ways to get better at pull-ups is just to lose some extra weight. One of the easiest ways to get better at push-ups is to lose some extra weight. So we can't discount that often obvious fact that is not discussed as well. So Dan, anything you want to add to that? Go for it.
I just want to really add to I have that one we call them PUPs, push-up position planks. And the more time we can get the person to screw those, so it's an active plank. So
yep.
I'm turning into my pinkies and really, screwing those shoulders in. And what I find sometimes, and by the way, it's not just for women; it's for teenagers.
Oh, this is for everyone. Yeah, my advice for women and men is really the same.
You'll notice they almost want to push up like they're 12 pieces. And that you teaching the person to be one piece. And the nice thing about doing those planks, and if you do add any pressure, if you push into their hips as they're trying to hold the plank, or they, very often you'll find push-ups. Someone who's not good at push-ups or pull-ups, it's a long linked problem. It's not. I got to work on I got to make my arms stronger. If I hear I got to get stronger triceps, I know the person's not linked.
Right.
Knitted, connected. Okay.
Yeah. Good. Push-ups are great. I think you should be able to do them.
Yeah.
Big fan. My favorite gym class exercise.
Yeah, said no one ever.
Yeah, right. What was my least favorite? I mean, I was the chunky when we were doing that in gym class in middle school. I was a chunky kid, so I didn't like any of it. I could always do like the sit-up test though.
Yeah,
which I think just goes to show how useless that was.
Well, yeah, people get on me online about I can't do pull-ups well, or I sucked at sit-ups. I couldn't hold you had to do this, and you had to have your feet interlaced. Well, the second I threw my hands forward, they always slid off. I don't know why, but so it's funny. I look back and geez, and I'll say this: one thing about being in a big high school program is you learn that some people are just really good at some things, and the funny thing is, I threw the discus farther than all those people, and I think in football I knocked people down really well, and when I wrestled, I pinned people. But at no time in any wrestling match I ever had did they go, okay, pull-ups. So you can be really good at pull-ups and push-ups and sit-ups, but it doesn't equate over into life.
That's very true. That's very true. All right, let's take one or two more. Horror Biz wants to know our thoughts on Eugene Sandel's light dumbbell system. According to his book, he performed it every morning, fasted, and strength trained in the evenings.
You would probably hear the same thing in 2024, 5, I guess now, with people who do like fasted kettlebell swings first thing in the morning. It's very similar. I think it's in my head right now. Somebody does that. For those who do that 75-day challenge, I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. It's a new fad. I think it's hilarious because you're supposed to work out twice a day with a 3-hour break in between the two workouts. But that'd be really a good choice for this. I'm doing the Sandow 75-day challenge or whatever. Yeah, I think it's great.
Cool.
It's just that was a thing they did back then. When I was young, people still came into the gym, grabbed dumbbells, and would go through. God, I remember Howard. He would probably have 20, 25 minutes of. I mean, you almost felt it was like one of the hip, hop, hip, hop. It's just, all the stuff my dad did to get ready for World War II. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. Well, gets a Dan John thumbs up. All right. This is an interesting one. What are your thoughts on Keurig coffee makers, Dan? Does that count as coffee to you?
Well, I just think that you're adding a lot of stuff to to the landfills and the dumps, and my daughter got the ones that supposedly decompose, break down.
Oh, I didn't even.
But if you want to go in my backyard, I'll show you in my mulch pit that they're still there. My daughter moved to North Carolina 2 years ago. So my thought on those things, I just don't like. I don't like the fact that they're made. I'm not trying to be but I try not to be wasteful. And you know what, guys, everybody knows. I mean, I drink either Folgers coffee crystals. It's mountain grown. It's the richest.
It's mountain grown, yeah.
Or I just drink. What would you say I do? Somehow I have a financial thing with a coffee grower in Hawaii, and I buy really expensive coffee from Hawaii. So my coffee is either crystals or expensive coffee, and I like the smell of coffee.
Oh, of course, yeah. No, I'm with you. It's funny. We kind of live on the coffee extremes too. We either also do the Costco huge jug of Folgers, or the really nice single origin, right? All that stuff.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
And so, and the other, in fact, I had to buy a new coffee maker. Just about 2 weeks ago. The coffee makers don't last. Like my mom, she got a coffee maker, I think, when her family came off the boat. And we had that coffee maker my entire life. It was the kind you put on a stove.
Yep.
And it was great. Never broke. There was no moving parts. Had a little glass ball on the top so you could see the coffee, and she had a system for, by smell when to take it off. I don't remember.
That's great. Yeah.
Never broke. Lasted 100 years. You could probably just add hot water because it was so coffee,
Yeah.
I mean, it probably, by the time she passed away, you probably could only get like a teaspoon of water in there because it was just rocked in.
So caked over, yeah.
In coffee. Yeah. So I just spoon it out and eat it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I go through and when I went to get one, I was surprised how hard it is just to get a coffee maker nowadays.
Oh, is it? Yeah. So ours is literally in pieces. Like it's so broken, but like the top you have to put on it is like snapped in 3 pieces. We just kind of like Lego piece it together. It's so bad. I don't know, just haven't got it right. It still works good enough. So like, you know what? We're not gonna get a new one just yet, right?
And I also bought I have a church coffee maker that I use for certs or big parties here. It makes 45 cups of really bad coffee, church coffee.
Love it, yeah.
And I got to tell you, when I'm making that coffee, I always think it's hilarious. People will go up and they'll go like this. That coffee is, and then they'll drink like 30 cups because there's something magical about church coffee.
There really is. Yeah, absolutely. Good. All right, Dan, before we say goodbye, what do you got coming up? How are you celebrating New Year's Eve? You doing anything? What do you got this week? All that
I'm
good
gonna
stuff.
watch. I think Penn State's playing Boise State tonight. I'll probably watch that. I retired years ago from New Year's. It's rookie night.
So did we. Right. Yeah.
There's no need for me to watch a girl it's like St. Patrick's. There's no need for me to see that girl in a mini kilt vomit. I don't need that.
Doesn't really add to one's quality.
And it's not just that it's dangerous. It's just tonight is a little. I mean, also we live in a where it snows. So, but I just
be safe, friends.
No, I just I do some really important year-end things, and honestly, tomorrow is. Someone's asking me if I'm going to, you're going to train Wednesday. Well, of course I'm going to train Wednesday. Well, it's New Year's morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
I mean, that puts me one day ahead of, puts me one day ahead of, my competition,
that's right.
And by the way, technically as an athlete, I turn 68 tomorrow.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Folks, just listen to this. In 2 years, I will be 70. And all the records will be at my
for your taking. Good. Awesome. Well, great. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Dan.
What are you doing? Real quick.
We're just gonna hang out with the kids probably till like 8 o'clock and put on a Jason Statham movie and fall asleep. Realistically, right?
I'll probably watch the game and not even I mean, I won't even. I mean, I
Yeah, no way. The midnight thing, I couldn't even imagine with the kids that the wreck that would be, even just staying at home, like to stay up to midnight. Just the sleep is already, such a finite resource for us as it is. It's just not going to happen.
yeah,
Right?
I haven't really done much in the. And by the way, so I'm not like humbugging. I'm just saying it's just
Yeah,
been there years
Go
ago. Gosh, 10 seconds. A buddy of mine, we ran that New Year's 5K,
yeah.
and it was the coldest experience I'd had in a long time. It's Utah in a snowstorm, midnight, running. So it was fine. The running was slick, but it's when you stopped and you had that sweat, that kind of that.
Mhm.
If any of you've ever shoveled snow or anything like that, that snow sweat you get, where all of a sudden it's like, okay, I stopped. Oh my
Yep.
God, cold. Yeah, it was cold, and
Yeah.
I have a great story that but I'm not going to share it with y'all after.
For another time. All right, gentle listeners, thank you so much. Thank you, Dan. Happy New Year, everyone. We'll see you next year.
Happy New. Oh, well played.
Bye.
New Year. Bye.